Hi, I'm Miss Sarah, and I'm going to read you a book filled with one of my favorite characters, the Tigger movie. Adapted by Ellen Teitelbaum. Tigger's Big Bounce. One blustery fall morning, Tiggerly happily bounced through the 100-acre woods. Do you guys know the song? Wonderful thing about Tiggers, a Tigger's a wonderful thing. Soon, Tigger bounced right into Winnie the Pooh. "Want to go bouncing with me?" asked Tigger. "I would go bouncing with you," replied Pooh, "except I have to count my honey pots to make sure I have enough for the winter." "Their tops are made out of rubber, their bottoms are made out of spring." Next, Tigger bounced into Piglet. But Piglet could not bounce with Tiger either. He was busy collecting firewood, and Kanga was busy sweeping. Their trouncy, flouncy, pouncy, pouncy, fun, 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 fun. So Tigger bounced all by himself until he bounced onto a branch, which pushed over a big rock, which rolled down a hill. And it landed right on Eeyore's house. Eeyore's friends rushed over to see how they might help. "Your attention, please," said Rabbit. "I have officially completed the plans." Rabbit organized an enormous rock-moving machine, but the boulder wouldn't budge. Finally, Tigger bounced up. He could see that one big bounce would get Rabbit's rock-moving machine going. Oh, but Tigger's bounce made the machine get going too quickly. "You ruin everything with your bouncing," said Rabbit. "But bouncing's what Tiggers do best," said Tigger. "What we're trying to say," said Piglet, "is that we can't bounce like Tiggers. Because, and we're not Tiggers," finished Pooh sadly. Roo followed Tigger as he walked off. Suddenly, Tigger brightened. "Say, if there are other Tiggers, we could all bounce. Morning, noon, and nighty-night, too." Tigger and Roo went to Owl to find out how to find other Tiggers. Owl will explain. "Why, to find one's family, one must find one's family tree." "Say, thanks for the tip, Beak Lips," cried Tigger as he and Roo bounced off. Arriving with a great big bounce, Tigger asked his friends if they had seen any members of the Tigger family tree. But no one had. "I didn't know Tigger had a family," said Piglet. "Seem to be looking for 'em," added Eeyore. "We must be supposed to help them, Pooh," said Pooh. "I often remember to forget these sort of things." But after a long search, Tigger and Roo returned home without having found a single Tigger. "If there were other Tiggers, we could all bounce and whoop-de-loop and loop-de-looper and alley-ooper bounce," Tigger said sadly. Wanting to be just like Tigger, Roo tried to bounce too. Crash! He landed in an open closet where he found a locket. It must have a picture of my Tigger family inside. But the locket was empty. Meanwhile, Eeyore announced, I found them. Tigger's family. He led Pooh and Piglet to a fully striped, bouncy frog. Could this be Tigger's family? Tigger misses you very much, said Pooh to a frog, but the frog just hopped away. Then, in a nearby tree, Pooh found some bees, striped bees, bees that looked a little bit like Tigger. Oh, bother, Pooh said when the bees started to chase him and Piglet and Eeyore. I don't think these are the bees are the right sort of Tiggers. Poor Tigger was no closer to finding his family. Why don't you write them a letter, Roo suggested. Hoo-hoo-hoo, hooted Tigger happily, and he began to write. Tigger mailed his letter and waited for a response, but none came. Roo grew worried about his friend. Kanga said, as long as we care for him, he will always be one of our family. The next day, Roo gathered everyone except Tigger at Owl's house. Roo wanted Owl to write a letter to Tigger from his family. Owl began the letter. Dear Tigger, just a note to say... Dress warmly, suggested Kanga. Eat well, added Pooh. Stay safe and sound, said Piglet. Keep smiling, mumbled Eeyore. We're always there for you, said Roo. Owl finished the letter. Wishing you all the best, signed your family. The next morning, Tigger showed off the letter from his family. They're coming to see me tomorrow. Where does it say that? Asked Owl, surprised. Nowhere, said Tigger, 'cause with us Tiggers, you gotta read betwixt the lines. Now Roo had a new idea. The friends would pretend to be Tigger's long-lost family. Everyone painted on stripes and practiced their bouncing. That evening, Tigger welcomed his family. Let's all do what Tiggers do best. That's bouncing, of course. Roo tried to bounce the whoop-de-whooper, loop-de-looper, alley-ooper bounce, but crashed into the closet again. Roo's mask fell off, and then Tigger pulled the masks off the other masks as well. Tigger was so disappointed. There's a Tigger family tree full of my real family, and I'm gonna find 'em, he said. Oh, poor Tigger. Rabbit, Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, and Roo followed after Tigger. Tigger! Tigger! They called into the raging snow. Deep in the forest, Tigger had just found a tree so grand and gleam. That had to be the Tigger family tree. Woo-hoo-hoo! Called Tigger, but nobody was home. Sadly, Tigger dropped his letter. Tigger's letter soared right off into the wind and landed into Rue's hands. He started running toward the giant tree with the others right behind him. "What are you guys doing here?" Tigger asked. "We came all this way to look for you," explained Rabbit. Tigger began to argue that he was waiting for his Tigger family when a low rumble echoed through the valley. Suddenly, an avalanche was coming right at them. Tigger bounced everyone to safety in his tree. But the snow rolled Tigger toward a steep cliff, doing a perfect whoop-de-looper, loop-de-looper, alley-ooper bounce. Roo rescued Tigger. Taking a long look at little Roo and his other good friends, Tigger knew his family had been with him all along. The next day, Tigger gave a party to his family and friends. As a special treat, he gave Roo his heart-shaped locket. "Now wait a minute," Tigger cried excitedly. "We need to take a family portrait to put it in." And that's exactly what they did. So the song again for my favorite book. Wonderful thing about Tiggers, a Tigger's a wonderful thing. Their tops are made out of rubber, their bottoms are made out of spring. They're bouncy, trouncy, flouncy, flouncy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one.